Good morning, mate. Happy Friday. We are live here with Dave from Alt Media down there in Christchurch. Looks like a stunning day out there for you.
Yeah, mate, it's a stunner. Thanks for having us here, Luke. Good to see you again.
Nice, nice. It's a little bit rainy. I won't show you out my way because it's not quite as nice as Christchurch, and people might get a little bit jealous. Mate, we're jumping on here too, and we thought we were going to have this conversation one on one anyway. And I thought, well, let's throw it up on Facebook and give people a bit of a behind the scenes in terms of some of the work that we do and that you're doing as well. You're currently working through some of our business planning methodology that we have online for business owners to work through. And you started a little while ago and are making some good progress. So we're having a bit of a catch up to see what you've got. And you're at the early stages of putting this together. Now it's about refining it. For those that are tuning in and listening, and just even from my understanding, how have you found the process of working through the business planning tools?
Yeah, I guess right from the outset, I found it quite easy. I saw the post go up on your Facebook, and I thought, being an existing Next Advisory client, I just thought that it was quite logical to take what we're doing already on the accounting and financial side, and then extend that to more of a strategic business planning component. So for me, it's been pretty easy so far. The links have been seamless, and videos are, great way to explain the process further, and then the spreadsheet have been chipping away at that. So it's nice and easy, mate.
Good man. Well, we're going to pull that up shortly. What were you hoping to get out of this process from the start?
Just clarity, really. I've had the business 5 years now, and it's kind of evolved a lot since the beginning. And I think it's just important to get like my vision like out of here onto some paper or a spreadsheet. And then it also allows the team and everyone in the organization to sort of be on board and to see what we're up to, right? So that's my main motivation.
Good man. Yeah, it's very common. Business owners often have a lot going on up here and need to get it down into a structure, basically, and then wrap some,
exactly.
accountability and actions around some of the things that they can see up here. So nothing wrong with that, but often, when you can get it out, it is a bit easier with a bit of structure. And then obviously you've involved the team in the process. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I got most of the way through it, and I just thought that part of the business and part of having the team is to share responsibility and to make sure that we are all on the same page. And so by getting the boys involved, it was just awesome to get their take on it, their opinion. They see things that I don't see, and vice versa. And so it was really awesome to have some of the fellas there in the office yesterday, and we could each sort of go through the different components, so like the financial, the marketing, and the goals that we're looking to achieve in the next 12 months, but specifically the next 90 days. So that was pretty awesome.
Good man. Well, yeah, we talk to clients that we work with in person with the stuff to, involve people that are going to be making decisions or that are going to be doing some of the actions that come out of this work. So good to see you involving them right from the start, mate. Very good way to do it. Well, we'll dive into some of the work that you've done and have a bit of a look. I'll pull this up on screen here. And how's the orange to start with? How nice is it?
Oh, mate, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm digging it.
Good man. So for those that are having a look, and obviously you work through it, but there's everything here from basically it's getting you to think about your purpose of business through to what you can see in your head over the next 5 years and what you're hoping to achieve, and then some 1 year goals, and then obviously there's a SWOT analysis down here as well for people to work through, which is very important. And some of your weaknesses and threats and whatnot that can identify some of the work that needs to be done. What makes you guys different? Who you want to be working for in terms of ideal clients. We get into some numbers down here, which we'll probably do a bit of work off air about that section, mate. And then anything extra, we need to throw that down. And some KPIs, things that you're going to be able to measure, the values, and obviously values are a very critical piece of a business to have, where they help guide the decision-making principles of a business. So good to see that you put some time into that. Some people find the purpose and the value is a little bit tricky to do, but that was probably, I'd imagine, one of the sections you might have gravitated towards first, knowing you. And then
Yeah,
obviously you've ripped through and done your quarterly action report, which is good to see as well. So clients reset these every 90 days and try and work through each of these things. So it looks like you've set yourself a fair bit to do there, and we'll have a look at that. But tell me how you approached this, or what was the your way of working through it. What did you find easy? What did you find hard?
Yeah, so as you say, I did gravitate towards the value component and the purpose. Like that's something that's really big for me. And shout out to Alt Marketing, and we've I just referred to my handy booklet here, mate, and I checked out the values,
Hey,
and that was nice and easy. So that was
good man.
quite easy for me. But
So you'd already worked on values previously?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
exactly.
man.
And like what
Do you share those?
100%.
You share
Yeah,
those with clients? Yeah, cool.
yeah, totally. It's really important. It's part of the sales process, and it's part of our identity. So definitely share those. But
Nice.
yeah, as you say, I did get a little bit derailed on the financial bit there, just with some of those numbers there. So take a look at that at some point, I guess.
Yeah, we can do that. So did you found that bit probably a little bit tricky? Well, you're obviously, for context, you're growing, right? So you are really putting some time and effort investment into turning this business into what you want it to be. So that area probably is a little bit tricky to do for you compared to business owners that are looking at historical data going, okay, we want to do our sales plus 15% or some of those baseline metrics that people use. Yeah. And
Yeah.
did this did we call this blinding flashes of the fucking obvious, excuse my language, that clients get when they work through this? Was there anything for you that like really just stuck out as you were doing this, thinking, wow, I need to do that, or that's a lot more clear now, or anything like that?
I guess it kind of integrated into that other document that we went through, the cash flow one. So
Yeah.
I guess that's been another area that I've had to force myself to become more and more aware of and more upskilled on. And so yeah, I guess just tying it all together, having an awareness of the numbers and getting like those monthly checks and balances in play. So like updating the cash flow thing every month, and then just having a better awareness. So that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Good man. Yeah, well, numbers, as we've talked about previously, numbers are the output, right? So if you get these things right over here and start taking some of these actions that you've got, then the output is obviously the numbers that end up down here. So yeah, very glad that you are working through the cash flow side of things as well, and that's available in this course and methodology that people can access. But you got a jump start on it, and you were already working through that. So very, very astute of you, mate, and very proud. Good stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
Now that's it is very important though, because it's something that this is some of the theory and worded side of it, but if you don't understand how cash flows through a business, you can very quickly undo everything that you're doing over here. So there is two sides to it. So it's important to spend some time on it. So just going to touch on a couple of things while we are live around, in the section, what winning looks like. So this is a section we work through with clients around what over the next 12 months their goals are. And we may have confused you a little bit with, what some of the stuff you've got here is around probably how you look after your clients and what that feels like to do that. So off air, we will tidy some of that up around, you've already basically set your 1 year goals anyway over here in your 90-day action plan. So you've got what those things are. So we'll move those back over to here, but it's good that you can identify what makes you guys feel like you're really delivering a high level of service. And also with the ideal customers, so you're targeting people that are turning over between 1 and 3 million, and then driven growth orientated business owners and or marketing managers. So I've just made a comment here to say, what are they going to return to Alt Media? Like, what do they look like in terms of a revenue client? And if we can think about that, that's going to allow us to work backwards and figure out, okay, how are we going to target an income of 350 grand, or I think, say 420 over here, and then we can start to figure out, okay, how many clients we need, and then how many staff we need to be able to resource that, and then potentially, do we start saying no to some of the work that doesn't fit into that ideal client space? So, bit of thinking for you there, for you to continue on doing. But do you have a way at the moment that you are targeting or finding those ideal types of clients?
I guess we're working through a bit of a transitionary time. Like historically, we've kind of been of the mindset that, like, whatever comes in is good, and any client's a good one. And it's not to say they're not. It's just that we do have those new parameters in place now, and so I think you're right. We will probably get to the point where we are a little bit more pickier, and it's not that there's anything wrong with taking on everyone. It's just that for us, we have got a mission, and we are quite focused on achieving these goals, and so we would be doing ourselves a disservice by working with some of the maybe smaller clients per se.
Yeah.
So it is a work in progress.
And I suppose you could use something like LinkedIn to find those types of businesses that are turning over between, sort of under sub 5 million, and that have a marketing manager or marketing assistant in place, that sort of thing, right? So that gives you quite a nice database of potential clients.
Exactly.
And your strategy, your strategy is quite content driven, isn't it? So it's very, you're hoping for inbound conversation, but do you guys do outbound stuff as well, where you're directly contacting businesses?
Oh, it's a great question. Like I do believe in content-based marketing, but I've also recognized lately that it really needs to be tied into quite a dedicated sales process. Like inbound will only take you so far. I think, like even like the biggest SaaS companies, for example, like I think they've still got to have a really dedicated, structured sales process and sales team in place. And so that's sort of one thing that we've really found, and especially with dealing with the, bigger businesses, like you've still got to sell them, right? Like no matter how sick your content is, you've still got to get them to make, you've still got to sell them, basically.
Yeah.
It's not e-commerce, right? It's not like we're selling a widget and they are going to just go through like an inbound funnel and then click purchase. That is a service. So, that's been quite a cool realization lately.
Yeah, it's definitely a blend of both, isn't it? So
totally.
I think that content side of it for you guys is great. I like what you say in your business planning here too, around practicing what you preach and being an example of that, because I know a lot of clients that we work with, they'll get approached by businesses that have the flash new shiny object that can help them solve their product, and then they go away and look at that business and go, well, you guys aren't even doing what you're selling. So and I think people will become more like that. They're going to want people that are doing as they say, and really being proven for having the right sorts of things in place. So
totally.
I noticed you said process there, mate, and in your work here, you've got that processes is something that you feel are potentially a hindrance or a roadblock or a weakness, and that's not uncommon. So I was glad to see that it goes on the action plan as something that you're going to be working on. What are the processes that come straight to mind when you do start to worry about process?
I guess like the two that come to mind, like one is for website design. That's something that we're probably there's probably room for improvement, just in terms of like defining the brief accurately, and then the process of getting either the content from the clients or sourcing it ourselves, or just doing it right. Like it's just got a lot of moving parts, the website, and we've had a few situations in the past where it just hasn't gone quite as smoothly as it could. And the other one is the sales process. And so just relating back to what I was saying about needing to sell, and having the appropriate follow-up measures in place, and making sure that we're not spending all the time generating the leads and the proposal and then just having weak follow-up, or not communicating effectively, and just missing opportunities. That's sort of
Yeah.
the two that come to mind. Yeah.
So that they're just touching on the website process to start with. That's probably a expectation difference, is it, between what you're hoping the client's going to give to you and what they're hoping they're going to see coming back their way and things like that, is it?
Yeah, I guess it's right from the start, it's right from that initial conversation of like, okay, let's just chat about the budget, like, are we a fit, like, are we an appropriate fit for what you're looking for in your budget, like we're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive, we're sort of somewhere in the middle. And so I think that's like the first step, is just making sure that we are on the same loose page, and then from there the quoting / proposal phase, just making sure that we are defining what we're doing, and there's no sort of difference of expectation. I think that's probably the starting point, and then of course the execution after that, right? They can certainly drag on and chew through a lot more hours than what's been budgeted. So yeah, scope creep, yeah.
So
there's definitely places to lose the old profit on the website.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, so that's the sort of thing that would then encourage you to put into your action plan around probably one of your goals over the next year, basically, will be around processes and keeping those front to mind and actually refining them, because as you scale and get bigger, you're going to want to make sure that those are, in place and refined, so that you're not dealing with the same problem in 12 months time, but at a 3x multiple.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll do some work off air to basically, look at some of those processes and make processes a focus for alt media, because it's
alt marketing.
It's going to be. Yeah, sorry. I always say alt media, don't I?
I know. Actually, we're just alt now. We're just alt. Straight up alt.
Just alt. It's
alt.
media and marketing, isn't it? Well, I guess all content is media, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So we'll touch on some of those processes and figure out the ones that you really need to, refine. And I can see Mikey commenting there saying amen to that, because he's growing and growing quickly in his business and scaling. And he's had to refine up a number of processes to basically sort out a shit storm in some regards. So it's something that we always see with business owners, where they get to a point and they go, right, I need to make sure I've got the right systems before I go to the next level here, because otherwise they can already feel it and see it in themselves. They're just like, this is going to ruin me if I don't get this shit under control. So yeah, I think for you, it's going to be very important to have an awareness of that. And speaking of awareness, see under your roadblock, you've said that you're probably your own mindset and ability to focus, and you're working on this. And mate, I'll say that 90% of the planning we do with clients, they come back to the point that the roadblock is usually the business owner. So don't feel too bad about that. But what is going on there? Like, what is it that you're saying when you say your ability to focus and your own mindset? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I just thought I'd go a bit esoteric on you and be real, because it's not anything other than your own ability, right? Like everyone's trying to get better, or at least I am. That's like a big goal of mine. And so, I guess just in the past I have been guilty of being a bit distracted and getting fizzed up over something new and exciting, and just getting a bit distracted away from the core business. And I feel like I'm definitely getting better at focusing, and all this planning stuff, it really helps. So I'm working on it. I guess it's just controlling or harnessing that passion and excitement, and just driving it towards one thing rather than being scattered. That's sort of what I'm saying.
Yeah, good man. Well, Phil and I recorded a podcast yesterday on shiny object syndrome, and the challenge for an entrepreneur and for business owners is that it can be so exciting. Every day you get something new that comes across your desk that you think, right, this is what I want to spend my time on. And Phil Phil said to me, I said, right, how are we going to sum this up for people? And he said, go back to your vision. Your vision is what should stop you from getting distracted. And if you now that you've got some structure and some planning in place, this is what you want to keep yourself, what Phil calls being laser focused, and achieving your vision is what's going to help you do that. So if once you start getting results of the things that you're doing, helping you achieve your goals and working you further towards your vision, you start to almost get immune to distractions, because you're like, get out of my way. I don't need shit. I need to do more of what I'm already doing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is a cool mindset shift to go through as well. Instead of being so wanting to do everything, you're basically saying, like, you need to tell me if people are approaching you saying, oh, come to this meeting or whatever, you're going, well, how is that going to help me move the needle of my business or move me closer to my goal? So I'm looking forward to, seeing your involvement into that as some of the stuff starts to come, to fruition.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten a lot better, especially in probably like the last few months. I think, like on a micro level, that day-to-day distraction and random coffees and stuff, and then on a macro level of like wanting to try and get into other businesses or like just bigger distractions, right? So I think on both fronts, as you say, the vision is what will definitely prevent that from happening. So yeah,
good man. Okay, we'll touch on some of the action plan before switching this off of live mode, but you've been very thorough here, mate. So it looks like you've already identified a whole heap of work that you need to do over the next 90 days. I'm interested, did you work through this with the team, and then that's how you've figured out who's going to be doing what? Have they got buy-in for their side of what they're going to be doing?
Exactly, yeah. So for the most part, like probably the top 80% of that, that was myself and the guys yesterday, and then I just finished off the last couple of bits this morning. But that is the beauty of having a great team, right? Is that there can be shared responsibilities, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. There's a bit on there, there's a bit going on, but I think it's within our capabilities. It's not unrealistic.
Yeah. Well, I got an idea for you guys, mate. Like, because you're obviously in that team environment and you guys are very close. Why not print this out? And so you want to go like, right, quarter ending. So we'll change that up to maybe September 2020, sorry. And put that up on the wall as a reminder for you and everybody in the office. Like, okay, this is what we're working towards over the next 90 days. And basically at the end of that 90 days, if you're achieving it, maybe the team, celebrate in some way, whether that's a dinner or whatnot. But, if people are then aware, like they're buying into it from the start of like, okay, I need to do this over the next 90 days, then there's that ultimate level of transparency and accountability, right? Like, oh, suddenly Tim's going, well, actually, I've done nothing to develop the website, or Tim's saying to Dan, hey, mate, we need to, where are you at with that? Because we need to do that by quarter end. And you can start to tick some of these things off like live and in front of people. And that's going to be a huge asset that you're going to have that some other business owners don't have, is that they won't share some of these things with the team because they're working towards some of the things they individually need to do and whatnot, whereas you're obviously very transparent and allowed them to have some part in developing this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I just personally find it is just a bit easier to be transparent and to share with them, what's going on. And like, there's probably a few things I hold back just for obvious reasons, but not really. Like I want them to understand where we're at, and it's important for them to understand our pricing methodology as well, I think. And it's not that we're trying to. Yeah, I think it's just important for them to understand like where you're at and why we need to charge what we do, right? It's about sustainability, not so much exploitation or anything like that. It's just about providing value, but being realistic for both sides. So that's important.
Well, I mean, you can keep everyone employed too, right, and keep the clients happy. So that's what a winning business is.
And that's it. Yeah. And it's important to have the reserves and to have profitability, right?
Hey, well, one other thing to think about that could be a good idea for you is you can ask the team as well when you're setting these types of action plans. Say, hey, individually, if there's something on there that you would like to have a crack at, that's not necessarily, your responsibility at this stage. Feel free to come and talk to you individually and see what they want, like added on, or see what they'd like to have a crack at. Because sometimes, say you've got, you've got client gifts, morning t-shirts, plant giveaways, blow clients away, that sort of thing. Like there's sometimes a person on the team that's like, hey, I'd be real keen to organize that, and they can be really efficient at it or whatnot. So
Totally.
obviously then you've got to understand the strengths of your team and what they can't do, what they maybe just think is just exciting but might actually be an inefficient use of their time. But it's a good way to sort of see what people want to, what they gravitate towards working on.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah.
Actually. And it's not necessarily the obvious ones either, right? Like just because something's sales focused doesn't mean that it can be, Mac the videographer. He could be set up on that, right? So
exactly.
That's a great call.
Yeah, cool. Well, and it's good to see you here as well. You've got, your focus, which is obviously all going to be you, in terms of, what you're talking about before, monitoring your cash flow, monitoring how that's going, staying true to this plan, and then wrapping some accountability around it, and then also just reviewing your own marketing. And that's really business fundamentals and business development there, eh? So good, man. And then, further up, you've got some of the turnover metrics and some of the client growth business development side of the business, which those probably tie in together. And then, of course, staff, keeping them, focused and happy, and building that team environment, which you're massive on and you love having fun as per your values. So very, very thorough, mate. I think we'll tidy up a few little pieces, and you're into quarter one, getting some of the stuff done, and then we'll catch up at the end of quarter one and basically do the same thing again. And this time we won't focus as much on the business plan, but we'll be looking at we'll look at firstly, if anything needs to change on the business plan over this next 90 days, and then we'll be reviewing, okay, what didn't get done, but you're going to start doing that internally as well. And then basically you'll copy this over and start it afresh for the next 90 days. So the plan is that in 12 months' time, you've absolutely nailed a whole heap of stuff that you ordinarily wouldn't have done, and you'll be mapping back towards these goals and of course your vision. So how does that all sound?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really good, eh? Yeah, it's so good seeing it nice and clearly and concisely laid out. It's really good. Epic.
Good, man. All right. Well, I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your sunny, beautiful day down there in CHCH.
Beautiful.
Awesome. As we start to get more rain here in Auckland, but awesome to link up, mate. And thank you for sharing with everybody watching and that will watch this in the future, because not often business owners are brave enough to share their plan with sometimes even just their teams. But this is available on the internet, so good, man.
I mean, if one person can get sort of something out of this, or inspired, or get take something away, then that's a win, right?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And what for people that are thinking about business planning, what would you say in your words and your language is the reason that someone would want to do it?
I think for me, I've kind of seen a few different options or providers or whatever for planning or consulting or whatever. But the critical thing is just to engage with someone that you like, respect, and can trust. And so I think that's what I've enjoyed about working with yourself and Next Advisory, right? Is that it's real. Like there's no fluff. It's just to the point, practical. You just got to have that sort of connection, I think. So that's my advice.
Good, man. Yeah, nice. Appreciate that. That is that's good to hear. So thank you, and we'll end this live stream, but you stay there, mate.
Okay. All right.